Hey, good morning, guys. It's Monday, June 26th. Story Trading VIP pre-market prep. We have a list of so many stocks with news this morning that I really kind of don't care about the macro and the indices, what they're doing, because I think a lot of these stocks will move on their individual catalysts today. But that being said, let's at least look at QQQ, be a little responsible here, see what's going on. Okay, we're flat. All right, we're flat. We're above the 20 DMA, and that's after all the geopolitical Russia stuff going on this weekend, which I think is kind of a non-event after doing some research on it last night. And then let me just go to let's just look at a bigger macro. Let's see if anything stands out that we need to be aware of. Where is it? I have it under banks and macro. Okay. So QQQ, SPY roughly flat. Everything's roughly flat. Bitcoin pulling back a little bit. Bonds are up. Interesting. Oh wow. TLT above a key moving average on the daily. Look at that. Is that the daily? Yes, it is. 3 moving averages. Wow, that's interesting. Could be good for some diversification to have some bond exposure. And gold is up at the same time. All right. So in any case, this is what I like to see is relative stability. If everything is kind of flat, that works for me. All right. Because then stocks can move on their individual catalysts. So let's head on over to morning show. And there's so much going on in the news feed. We'll have to make time. Vegas isn't able to make it today. All right. So we're going to make time to look at the news feed, see if there's anything else we missed that may have come in late. Good chance something came in. So at the top, I try to order this based on priority of what can do well today. So Lucid's number one on my list. So Lucid's a stock that's been on my radar for a long time, but I like the car, but I never liked the stock because they just, don't have the same cost structure as Tesla in terms of building cars, which means that they're going to keep having to raise money. And I think that's what this gap down was over here, June 1st, if I'm not mistaken. They had to raise money. If it wasn't this gap down, it was somewhere else in the last several months. They had to raise money. So longer term, suspect of this. So I never took a position in it, never liked it because of that. But then this morning, some news came out, which at least changed my mind for a short-term play and maybe puts it in consideration, possibly, for something longer term, although I'd still be careful about that. But this morning, they made a deal with Aston Martin. And this is interesting. I'll tell you why it's interesting. So it says 232 million as part of supply agreement, but it's here. The whole deal is 450 million. So Lucid shares are trading higher after the company announced a technology partnership with Aston Martin to integrate supply Lucid's electric vehicle powertrain and battery systems in contracts worth in excess of 450 million. This is cool because this looks like they're basically licensing out their technology, which has nothing to do with my concern of, how cheaply can they build their cars in order to have a profit margin like Tesla has. This is different. This is basically acknowledging that Lucid has some great technology that can be used as the basis for other EV vehicles. In this case, Aston Martin, which is obviously, a very expensive, brand, that they're going to be very discerning about the type of technology they put in. So this is kind of an endorsement of the Lucid technology. And it's also maybe the start of a new business model where they can license out their technology to other car companies. So this is kind of like, it's an important news release. Like you can say, I don't want to say it's an inflection point, but it's possibly, I don't know the company well enough. This is possibly an inflection point, this type of news, which is why for the first time I've taken an interest in the stock. So let's look at the levels. Like for today, there's difference. Like there's what we're hoping it might do today for a day trade versus now let's maybe do more research on it. Now maybe you want to have a small position long term. That's all viable too. But for right now, let me just look at what's possible for today. And we see the 20 DMA resistance here at $6.28 is what I'm looking for to the upside. And then the downside, you always have to worry about gap fills, or in this case, maybe this one, maybe this level here. I'm going to kind of discount what it did Friday and say, hey, let's 580, something like that. Where was it in pre-market, by the way? 590. So somewhere in there, 580, 575 to 590 might be your support. Yeah, it's possible. I find it hard to believe it's going to make it all the way to 550, but we've seen crazier things in terms of a gap fill. But just the way it looks on a chart, that would look like it's kind of down. It wouldn't look like a gap fill just because of the way this chart pattern looks. I feel like a gap fill will be more like 575 on this kind of news. Again, Thursday's close, roughly. So that's your downside, I think, for today. And you got to have stop losses or manage your risk accordingly. And then to the upside, 632 at a minimum, right? Like at a minimum, wouldn't you on this news test the 20 DMA? Because that's still not even acknowledging that it's bullish news. That's just a move to your declining trend line. That's not a big deal. You should be able to do that. So that's how I think of this as like a minimum target at the 20 DMA. By the way, what's the short position on this? 8%. Okay. So it's not like gigantico, but in any case, 520 minimum target is a possible 620. I'm sorry, 630. And if it breaks the 20 DMA, can you go to the 50 DMA or start filling these gaps? Those are possible. And you just got to manage your risk and decide how much you're willing to hold, once it hits target one. So there's a play for you. Good luck. All right, another one. This one is really interesting. Wolfspeed. So those of you familiar with AEHR may be familiar with Wolfspeed. Wolfspeed, these are one of the semiconductor companies, manufacturing companies that create silicon carbide. So AEHR, they provide their services to like onsemi is a big one. I know they've been trying to get Wolfspeed. I'm not sure if they have them for a full production as a full production customer yet. I think it's possible they do, but at the least they're working towards getting them as a full production customer. So look at the news this morning. $2 billion investment. Okay, $2 billion investment to expand and boost U.S. silicon carbide supply. Wow. First of all, this is non-dilutive. Second of all, $2 billion, that's 33% of the market cap. So this is a major investment relative to the market cap that's coming in a non-dilutive fashion. So that's really, really good news for Wolf. Okay, and look at this. I have targets here possibly for today. It's above the 20 DMA of $55 to $60 at the top of this candle. 55 to 59.23. Yeah, 55 to 59.23 roughly is where my targets are. Could be today, could be the next few days. This is something where I feel comfortable holding this. If I'm wrong, I'll establish a position today and hope I get big targets today. If I don't, I'm comfortable holding this. I'm going to make an allocation so I can have room to hold this for days, maybe weeks. Maybe we even make room in the long-term account for this because that's a very significant news event. And by the way, and I mentioned AEHR, that's really good news for AEHR. I don't even need to know for sure if Wolf is a customer of AEHR because at the least, this is a sentiment boost for AEHR. So it's not surprising to see AEHR up this morning. What kind of volume is that? 5,500 shares. Not surprising to see this move. I wouldn't be surprised to see AEHR break last Thursday's high because you got to think the bulls are saying, oh my gosh, $2 billion more coming in specifically for silicon carbide manufacturing. And a percentage of that is going to go to AEHR because they're part of the silicon carbide manufacturing. Maybe, potentially going to go to AEHR. Because again, I don't know for sure if they have them as a full production customer yet. But if they don't, they're trying to. We know that from conversations with CEO. So in any case, this is looking really good. Really good for AEHR. Already have a long-term position. I don't know that I'm going to jump and add more on it, but that's a pick for you that could do well today. Selling puts is something we're doing on AEHR too. That's really juicy stuff. All right, so Wolf, look at that. Let's see where Wolf is moving up to. Great. I love these three picks this morning. All right, then we have a more speculative pick here. So those will be the top three, I think, for the day. Then we have SPCE, which flew last week. We covered it for you. Then it crashed on offering. We let you know that this is really risky. It could move back to the 200 DMA, which it did. They ended up doing an offering. That's how it got there and beyond in terms of the 200 DMA. Now, this morning they had news that they are planning to launch this Thursday. So last week or a couple weeks ago, they said end of this month. Now they gave a specific date. This Thursday is their first commercial launch. So you could see sentiment come back in and retail coming back in to buy this. I think it's a lot riskier because it's already had an initial pump. And then once people see that dump after that, they could be much more wary about getting in a second time. But historically, the stock has done well around the big media events and the launch events. So if we see that, again, there could be people not even aware of what's going on. And once it hits the media Thursday, then you can see new buyers coming in. So this is something that could do well as it approaches Thursday. But it's much riskier, in my opinion, than Lucid, Wolf, and AEHR. Okay. Then we have DRIO with some news this morning. really pretty significant news, it looks like. But look, the stock is just not moving because the market wants to see revenue. So the news this morning is new research. A few weeks ago, they released some data on reduction of hospital stays. Now they have some data on HbA1c, reduction of, wow, what is this, 2.3? Is it 9? New 2.3 point reduction in HbA1c with baseline HbA greater than 9 points, right? So basically, they did here, and they said, hey, compared to the standard of care, there's a 1.8 drop in HbA1c, and here they had a 2.3 point drop in HbA1c, which doesn't sound significant, but it is. If you know how HbA1c numbers work, you're talking about every like decimal point's important. When someone's at 9 and you bring it down, I think it's 7 is where you want to try to get them under, if I'm not mistaken. So to get from 9 to 7, right, and you're like 1.8 takes you to 7.2, but 2.3 takes you to like 6.7. Like that's important in terms of keeping people with diabetes healthy. So in any case, this is Sanofi. This is more data. This gives me more confidence for the long term, but I'm not sure it's going to move on this. The price action recently has been telling me the market, at least short term, doesn't care about this stuff, and they just want to see the results. They want to see revenue. They want to see Aetna launch. So I'm not convinced the stock's going to do well today, but it increases my confidence long term with DRIO, and especially increases my confidence regarding the relationship DRIO has with Sanofi. That's really, really good. All right. I'm just thinking about what I've talked about so far, and I'm keeping Wolf and Air on my mind. Like as I'm talking out loud, I'm like, man, like those could do really well today, Wolf and Air. Okay. So let's move down. Lumber liquidators. So we've had this because of a potential buyout. They had an offer of $5.76. The board came out today and rejected it, but said, hey, if you offer something significantly higher, we would consider it. And I saw the jump in LL this morning to like 490, came right back down. So this is something we're still holding on to, not a big size. I just think the risk reward warrants it here in terms of the likelihood that we do maybe get a revised offer. I think that could definitely be coming, but it's in no man's land here, right between the 20 and the 50. Your downside risk is to about $4, a little under 4. And then the upside, if it breaks that 20 back over 550 or towards 550. So I like this. I like having a little bit of diversity in my account and waiting for a potential higher bid on LL. SENS had some data. So I don't know this company well. Oh shoot, someone introduced me to management and I haven't had a chance. I gotta contact management, see if I can get them to present to us. But there's another diabetes company, continuous glucose monitoring company, is competing with Dexcom, I believe, and they've had a spate of good news recently. Right, started with a good earnings report, then they got United Healthcare coverage, and this morning some clinical data coming out, which is reinforcing the product is working. Right, the key findings, you can go and read that. And SENS is getting a bid this morning. I have a small position in this because the revenue and their guidance look really good. It seems like, excuse me, I got a frog in my throat this morning. But their revenue guidance looks really good for the remainder of the year. It looks like they have some serious momentum. So I'm happy having a small long-term position in this until we learn more. So that's SENS, some data out for folks to keep that move going, potentially, keep the momentum going there. By the way, we're at a level. You see this resistance here. We're at around $1. 200 DMA is a level you got to be wary of, and 110 is a 50-week moving average. We have DNN Uranium Company with some news out. Now, look, I have not had good luck trading pre-revenue mining companies, whether it be copper or uranium or, what was the other one? Lithium, right? Haven't had such great luck with those. They're really hard to figure out what they're worth, before they start making revenue. But this morning, Denison reports significant increase in economic results for Wheeler River. And it looks like the key line, if you scroll down here, base case pre-tax net present value is $2.34 billion, which is a 150% increase versus their last study they did in 2018. So it's been 5 years. I don't know if it's their last one, but they're comparing it to something 5 years ago and saying it's 150% higher. So it seems bullish. But again, I'm not an expert in this area, and I'm not sure anyone is. Like, I've tried interviewing people who are try to value these, mining companies pre-revenue, and I just haven't seen things play out like the way they expect. But I'm just letting you know that this news is out there because it seems significant. And if it jumps, we shouldn't be surprised. But I don't have the expertise level to be able to handicap for you and give you the odds that, hey, this is likely to rise today. I'm not sure, but something keep on your radar. Maybe if you see the relative strength coming in, could be something you can jump into. LLAP, the ITU meeting started today. I found out they're number 10 on the agenda, meaning they're last on the agenda, which means this decision will not be made until likely, let's see, that goes through July 4th. I guess they're open July 4th in Switzerland. So, okay, the meeting, does it end July 4th or end July 5th? I think the meeting ends July 4th. Okay, so it's possible this decision will not be made till like Monday or Tuesday, and we're not going to know about it, the answer, until Wednesday. There may be some leaks that come in, but in any case, this has not worked out yet for me. It's hugging the 20 DMA. I'm hoping we're going to get event anticipation. I really want to make money on this and get out before the decision comes out. I don't want to be in for a binary decision. I'd rather buy, if I have to buy this back at $1.75 after the decision comes out, I will, right? So $1.30, I'm hoping to get out at like $1.50, $1.60, but it has not materialized. I might be wrong on this, all right? So you just got to manage your risk and have the right position size in case you're wrong. All right, where are we? That was LLAP. I then have a company, like I like management. We've interviewed them before, but they just can't break out in terms of profitability. But they had B. Riley come out. Is it B. Riley? Yeah, B. Riley came out and increased their price target from $10 to $11. So that's why you're seeing a little bit of a bid this morning. It's only on 3,000 shares. I wouldn't chase this here. It's very light volume, and 11 to 10 is not really a huge deal. When they're reporting earnings, let's see. They report earnings August 1st, so that's kind of coming up in a little over a month. And I'm just monitoring every quarter, waiting for them to kind of break out. They're either like a little profitable or a little loss, little profitable or a little loss, even though their revenue keeps going up. They have cool technology, but did they get removed from the Russell? They must have either got added. Let me see. What's their market cap? What's their market cap here? They may have been removed from the Russell on Friday. That's that big candle there. All right. But in any case, speaking of that, removal of the Russell, I've noticed that companies that are removed from the Russell tend to do well after the removal, and companies that are added tend to do more poorly after it's usually the run up, right? If you're going to be added, you run up into the addition and then sell off afterwards. And if you're going to be removed, you sell off into the deletion and then you rebound after. That's a general trend I've noticed. So maybe that's another factor here that identify. And I'm just assuming they're removed just based on the market cap and the trend of the stock over the last year. I could be wrong, but that's the most likely assumption I have here. But it could move today. I like the stock. I like the company, but it hasn't really broken out fundamentally yet. So we'll have to monitor that. HTCR had some news this morning. We're fortunate enough to be able to sell some up here in the $1.80 to $2 range. I wish we sold all of it, but we didn't get to it. But in any case, oops, I just lost one of my indicators. RSI, here we go. Okay, so let's go back. HTCR, the news I'm waiting for that's really going to move the needle is anything related to Japanese IPOs that they're helping these Japanese companies IPO, right? This morning, it's just like another customer for their software, which is great. That's their core business. Great, but that's not what I'm waiting for. And you can see that's not what the rest of the market's waiting for. So we got that pop, we got that drop. I like the stock hugging the 20 DMA here. I think that could be a nice support level. And if it happens to go to 50, I still like it. I just think the potential, and check out, like we have it on YouTube. You can go and in our archives, the interview, actually the full interview is in our archives in the StoryTrading app, which reminds me, for those of you seeing the replay on YouTube, all right, to be able to see all our full videos in real time and the full CEO interviews, you got to go to StoryTrading.com app and you can check those out. But yes, HTCR CEO interview, I really like it. I like it seems relatively safe at these support lines. And this is cool stock to kind of, I think, buy it like at these support levels at the 50 to 20 DMA, wait for news, sell it on pops, rinse and repeat. I think this is a stock that could do that maybe all year. All right, COMM had a little bit of news. This is that competitor for Clearfield, which I don't know. I'm just going to let you know about the news. I'm not making any prediction, but everyone's getting on the AI bandwagon. So Ruckus One, which is, I guess, product of COMM's, delivers AI-driven unified management. Okay, good for them. Everyone's doing that these days, but we got lots of better things to play this morning. All right, then XXII, this is the one I was talking about, removed from the Russell. We saw some big after hours volume Friday. The stock was moving up because I think it closed at, what did it close at? Closed at 39. So this got killed going to the Russell deletion. And then it seems perhaps too many people shorted it. There was not enough um, not enough sales from IWM Russell on Friday for those who wanted to cover. This is my interpretation, right? For those who wanted to cover on Friday, perhaps not enough sell volume coming from the Russell, and those folks who were short going into that event had to start covering in after hours Friday. There was some significant volume, and it was up a nice percentage. So XXII has just been clobbered. I've lost a lot of money on this, big money. I mean, just been a travesty for me, but I'm still sticking with it. I like the thesis. It could be a 10 bagger. We just got to wait for things to turn around, man. It's hasn't been great, but anyway, and we'll continue watching for news there. They're doing good. I mean, they're expanding their product availability all over the country and now the world. I think the latest thing was they added, now it's available in Japan in some store that's on their Get VLN website. So, all right, hopefully it'll work out, but it might not. Might end up being a big loser for me. It might stay a big loser, or it's going to be one of those stories where you lose first and then make 10 times later, but I'm sticking with it. That's XXII. And that's about it. We're watching Apron. You know the whole story. I don't have time to cover it. I will note you QUIK, like very strong. There have been two big candles in QUIK over here with no news. So QUIK, this is the one we're waiting for $70 million deal to come through from the Department of Defense this summer. And I don't know, this kind of price action makes me think it's coming. I already hold it. I'm not adding more on this, but that's interesting. And it has explosive upside potential if and when they get this $70 million deal for these radiation hardened semiconductor chips, which they need for satellites and space, other space projects, space defense projects. Look at soon, up 4% this morning. But all right, that's about it. It's 9:23. Man, I took a long show today. Let's just check some news if there's soon. Added to Russell. Everyone knew that. So, okay, that's it. That's all I got for you. So just recapping, Lucid, Wolf, Air, I think the top three plays. Look for possible move in SPCE, although much more speculative. DRIO, we're going to hope. I like the long-term potential on that. And that's about it. That's like the main focus today. And good luck, everyone. We'll see you. I'll try to hop on 4 p.m. as I usually do for a quick post-market wrap. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow. And I think Vegas will be back tomorrow. I don't think she was feeling well today. And I'll talk to you guys later. Good luck.